You're listening to the Love Over Addiction podcast. Hey, it's Michelle. All right, guys, this is going to be a quick episode today because I want to keep it really simple. There is an expression my dad taught me many years ago. And for those of you that know, my dad is this Englishman who came over from London many years ago. And he has these expressions, guys, and I could recite 20 of them. He's that kind of dad where you say your trouble and you tell him what's going on in your life, and he's going to bring up one of his expressions. And when I was younger, I didn't quite appreciate them. I kind of rolled my eyes and was like, oh my gosh, not this again. But now, as I'm older, I really am grateful for them. Okay, so one of them, and he didn't make these up. At least I don't think he did. But he always told me, and I'm going to try and do an English accent just for fun. But he told me, Michelle, it is actions, not deeds. Wait, that didn't make sense. See, I was so focused on the accent. That totally did not make sense. That wasn't even the right expression. Let me try again. Michelle, it is deeds, not words. It is deeds. What are they doing? Not what are they saying? Okay, so how does that? That was me. I actually did that accent. Okay, and this is our lesson today. This is where we're going to park. We're going to park on the fact that you have a loved one who is trying to get sober, or at least so they say. But what are they doing to back up the statements and the claims they are making, the promises that they are making to you about getting sober? So, as always, the request from you is, let's be real with one another. Let's speak truth, because you are in a safe environment with me. I get it. I know exactly what it feels like to love somebody that struggles with addiction. I know how painful, how full of rejection, and how full of anger and disappointment that can feel. But one of the ways, you guys, that we heal ourselves is not through them getting sober. That's a common misconception, and it's like a rookie mistake. No, our healing has nothing to do with their recovery, believe it or not, which is actually kind of relieving, isn't it? Because you can feel better and you can be really happy in your life, whether they get sober or not. There's nothing to do with them. The real recovery is being honest with ourselves about our current situation, okay? So if you're willing to be honest with me, I'm willing to be honest with you. So let's take inventory of what's going on in your life right now. What actions is your loved one doing? Let me give you an example. Okay, they have a rough night. They decide, okay, they're not going to leave the house, but they grab their vodka, or they grab their big pack of beer, or they make that special drink, the one that you hate, because as soon as you smell it, or as soon as you hear the bottles, or as soon as you see them making it, your heart just sinks, because you know it's going to be a rough night. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So let's say that they had a really bad night in and they got drunk. Or let's say if your loved one has a problem with addiction, you could see it in their eyes that they were stoned, or they were high, or they were on something. You and I both have an amazing radar where we can tell somebody is not sober from miles away. And instantly, almost. It's like from the first sentence out of their mouth, you're like, oh my gosh, shoot, you are not sober right now. So, they have a bad night. They got wasted. It may have ended up in a fight. It may not have ended up in a fight. Regardless, the next morning, you are mad. You are so done with this shenanigans in your life. You are ready to call it quits, but you're not quite sure if it's the right time to do that. And you just want them to admit, finally, once and for all, without any kind of drama, that what they did last night stunk, that it hurt, that it was out of control, right? So you confront them. And you say the next morning they wake up, you wait till they're, awake and walking around the house. You got your speech lined up in your head. You've been rehearsing it all day, maybe even from the night before, about exactly what you're going to say. And you're going to say it with conviction and with passion because, gosh darn it, this is ridiculous. And once again, they broke their promises to you. And you don't know how much longer you can do this and live like this. And think about all the bad choices and all the hurtful choices that they're making to not only you, but the people around them, right? I get it. I've made that speech so many times. So you say the speech and they look at you and maybe they receive it. Maybe they nod and they let you talk. Maybe they're not defending themselves. Maybe they understand just how mad you are. And what do they say back to you? What do they say back to you? They say, "You're right. I'm sorry. I was out of line. Maybe I did drink too much. Maybe I do have a problem. I'm really going to try. I'm really going to try now. I'm recommitted to my sobriety." They might promise you that they'll go to AA meetings with you, or they'll go to AA meetings. They might promise you that they're only going to drink on weekends and not during the weekdays. Maybe they'll only drink beer and not hard liquor. Or maybe they'll only smoke pot and not do all of the hard stuff, cocaine or meth, or, smash up. They're going to throw away the pills, right? So they make these promises, and you know what? You want to believe them. You want to believe that this time was the last time. So even though you're skeptical, even though you've heard these words before, you're really tempted to go, okay, he's saying it a little differently, or they're tweaking it just a tad that makes me think that this time they might really mean this, right? We all want to believe that our loved ones genuinely want to get better. But then here's where I come back to the simple lesson of today and what my dad's wise words are. And you all know where I'm going with this. So they give you a speech, you buy it, kind of, right? Because there's always a part of you that's skeptical and doesn't really believe. And then what do? What if they give this speech on a Friday and Saturday night comes around? Are they going off to the store? Are they creating excuses to leave the house to go meet up with friends at the bar? Are they really present with you and giving you your full undivided attention? Are they actually going to their AA meetings? Are they doing the research necessary to create the tools that they require to get sober? Are they making appointments with a therapist? Are they getting a team of experts surrounded by them so that when they are tempted to relapse, they actually have the tools? These are all common denominators of what it looks like to get sober for good. The people that are successful at long-term sobriety, it doesn't matter if you do it cold turkey or if you kind of slowly walk into it. What matters is you are creating the desire to have coping skills outside of drugs and alcohol. And those coping skills, the only way you acquire them is through learning. So ask yourself, is your loved one learning coping skills? Are their actions lining up with their words? Or are they just relying on a temporary monologue speech to you with really no true intention to get sober for good. Look at their actions. You guys, this disease is so freaking manipulative. It knows exactly what we want to hear. It knows the right buttons to push, and it has to be manipulative, right? Because any addict that isn't manipulative usually doesn't get away with very much. The tool that they have mastered in their addiction is manipulation. Now, I know that sounds harsh, and you might get defensive and say, Michelle, I love them. I'm not questioning your love for them. I'm not saying they're bad people, but I'm saying, let's be freaking real here. They are master manipulators. And so the way to cut through that, the way to get your sanity back, the way to know if what they're doing, what they're saying is actually the truth, is to look at their actions, look at their deeds, look at what they are doing. And if what they are doing is lining up with long-term sobriety, setting the stage for long-term sobriety, then cool. Love, pay attention to those words, believe in those words, trust in those words, and your trust will start to build. If what they're doing doesn't line up with what they're saying, then it's just lip service and you know you're trying to be manipulated, and don't fall for it. I'm not saying you need to walk around angry or pissed because they're not following through with their sobriety. I'm saying just know in your heart, in your gut, in your soul, that their intention is not to get sober at this point in their life. And so you don't have to waste your time worrying about whether they're telling the truth or not. You don't have to sit there and mark the bottles or check the hiding spots, follow them around in your car late at night, wondering where they're going or who they're hanging out with. You don't need to look through the phone and see who are they texting their drug dealer? Are they texting anyone else? You don't need to do that. All you need to do is look at their actions and say, does this line up with somebody who's trying to get healthy and better? And you know what that looks like because you're doing that. You're listening to this podcast. You're growing, right? So compare your growth to theirs and say, are they giving me an example of someone who's trying consistently and consistently committed? Or are they not? You can detect the truth. You have a lie detector within yourself. Trust it. Don't be fooled. Don't fall for the manipulation. Don't fall for the trap of the words. I've done it for many, many years, and it drove me crazy, right? And it's really, really disappointing and hurtful. This is how you tell. Look at what they're doing. All right. I hope you found that helpful. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week.
This podcast is created for your support, encouragement, and entertainment with Michelle's personal thoughts and beliefs. From one woman to another, bonded together by the fact we love someone suffering from addiction. This is not intended as a substitute for therapy or advice from a professional.